Hi everyone, I'm Roshni. I'm the founder and group CEO of The Asian Parent.
Hi, I'm Joel. I'm co-founder of Shopback, and today we're both here to talk about working from home.
What's your current work from home arrangement?
So for us, not just in Singapore, but in many other markets, Zoom and Google Hangouts have become our social media platform where all of us are connected together. And actually, I think the interesting part is that we still can get work done. It's just how do we adapt to this new way of working together where we don't get to interact with each other, but at the same time, we're still working together on the digital front.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that we're an internet company at this point in time, because this feels like second nature for us, right? Just to adapt to the whole work from home thing. It's been really, really good, I feel. Of course, initially it started off with a lot of anxiety. I think across the different markets, similar to you guys, we're in 8 different countries, which means that we had 8 subsequent lockdowns or, circuit breakers happening one after another. I think it still takes a lot psychologically and emotionally to get adjusted to it.
Have you run into any challenges working from home?
Yes, I think that there's a few, right? Number one is cabin fever is a very real thing. It's fun to work from home for a week, 2 weeks, but then when it's endless, and I feel that sometimes demotivates people because then they don't know when is the end in sight. And so it feels very, very overwhelming.
On our side, I think the HR team is actually very cognizant about mental health. Every one of us face that in some form and format. It's just, you don't know that everyone else is facing that. So you feel like, it's something wrong with me. But like, as you mentioned, cabin fever, people feeling isolated, that's actually a very human response to us being a very social species. I think end of the day, we're all human after all.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I feel like one of my roles right now is to just be the over communicator in the company, right? I let the team know the struggles that I experience as well, that if I as CEO are experiencing so many emotional turmoils, then it's okay for them to feel it too. And it's okay for them to express it, that we don't have to be embarrassed because each one of us have our own burden to shoulder. Has this situation provided any insights to your company culture or processes?
In terms of processes, I think a lot of processes that we take for granted that we could be done on the offline space now, I think has been migrated online, right? Just now we talked about onboarding. Onboarding is the biggest one because actually that's the first day that someone comes into the company and we want to be able to share our culture and what we stand for. But I think then, we have to migrate that. And I think the other part is also to be prudent with the time. So I think we're very used to booking an hour for a meeting. But actually now you notice that actually you can make do with half an hour if you're doing on Zoom or video call. But more importantly, also back to the human connection, right? Team lunches are actually very common. But now that is actually not possible. And one of the departments, what they are doing was a secret center lunch exchange. That brings back that connection that was lost when you're unable to do team lunches. How about your side?
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. So I think on our end, what some of the policy changes that we came up with was, of course, flexi work hours, flexi work days as well. So you're not limited to doing Monday to Friday. You can choose to work a Saturday and Sunday as well. We realized that was really critical because of the fact that if you have caregiving responsibilities, chances are you're sharing that responsibility with another working adult. So if both of you are working Monday to Friday, but why not change it where, you start your work week on Wednesday to Sunday. So then there's less overlap and you guys each have a little bit more downtime. We also gave the option of, and we trialed it out in certain departments where we do 4-day work week at full salary, because we wanted to see if our employees could actually be very efficient and get their work done in 4 days. Then why do we force them to work 5-day work week? Because I think that the way that we've been working all of these years, there's something wrong with it. There's no work-life balance, right? It's just like you finish your work and then you have more work piled on you. Why don't we tell them that you get the rest of the time off? Do whatever you want, enjoy life.
I think being able to set aside personal as well as work would be, I think, very important. And that gives, I think, some form of sanity in this difficult times.
I think that's easier said than done as well, because it can feel very, very overwhelming and you don't know how to do the demarcation, even though intellectually we know it's so important. How do you think the economy will look like after COVID-19?
For me, I think this whole experiment expedited the whole move towards digital. So what we see on our front is that offline businesses are now wanting to come online much more. So you see them setting up stores. So they're definitely more involved. And I think once they are the first case of this will continue. It's a good catalyst to get this whole thing started. How about yourself?
In terms of digital ad spend, we have definitely seen some of the budgets move from offline onto online. I think the only concern, of course, is there are some industries that have been very much impacted. So while we are seeing a shift of budgets take place, at the end of the day, we are also seeing that a lot of businesses have stopped marketing altogether, right? So I think the jury's out on how much this is really going to affect us financially speaking. But overall, we are seeing higher engagement rate, we're seeing higher time on site, and we're definitely seeing a lot of people who would just generally never advertise digitally coming to us, talking to us about various different campaigns. Joel, it's been great catching up with you today. But as we all try to transition back into work, what do you think you're going to miss the most about working from home?
I think one is definitely family time. Even when you go back to work, you still can spend time with family, but I think now, it's just a room away, especially with the newborn that I have.
I'm definitely going to miss that as well. Just being able to see my family basically on call, right? Anytime you miss them. I think the other thing that I'm really going to miss is the quiet time that you can get to really get as much work done as possible, because we are in an open office setup. So sometimes it's very hard to get that good solid 1 hour of work cranked out, which, these days I've had ample opportunities to get that done. So that's something I'm going to really miss.